Arashi, Prince of the Sky. Chapter 24. Courage. After 12 grueling hours in flight across the Atlantic Ocean, the team finally landed in Morocco, Africa. During the flight, Arashi and Cody continued testing their abilities and getting used to reading energy and sensing vibration. Ishara was relentless in sharing her knowledge about chakras and reminding them of the power of a balanced mind, body, and spirit. Cody spoke briefly to some of the other crew, but most of them were extremely timid and didn't feel comfortable answering any questions. That raised their suspicions even more. Where did these kids come from? Did they not have parents or guardians? They all seemed too young to be drafted into the military like this, but then again, so were they. Shamari was less than helpful, and it was clear that they were not going to get any answers out of him, mainly due to the fact that he simply didn't know and did not pretend to care. The general did not return to make any more appearances during the flight, nor did Nanabe. There were already way too many unanswered questions to feel confidently safe, but the good thing about it was that they were finally in Africa, and Cody couldn't help but feel the fireworks of excitement bursting inside of him. Finally free of those New York City streets, and of his past coming to haunt him, he thought to himself,
if I don't go back there, that would be okay with me.
The doors to the plane opened, and everyone got out and stood waiting for their next instructions. It was at least 110 degrees out on the jetway. The sun was high in the sky, and they saw nothing for miles except for distant hills and brown sand dunes. Keeping a low profile meant landing in the middle of nowhere. Well, here we are. Arashi signed and nudged Cody on his arm with a hint of sarcasm. Cody glared back under the heat of the sun.
They can give us something, some sunglasses, a hat. It's hot out here. I don't like being hot. I get real irritable when I'm hot.
Cody was pulling his tank loose from his skin to catch what little breeze there was. They walked over to stand under the wing of the plane for some relief from the sun that was beating down on them mercilessly. They watched as the kid soldiers lined up in 6 rows of 10 on the side of the jumbo jet, and time seemed to move slowly as they continued roasting. None of them showed any signs of being affected by the blistering heat of the sun. Ishara stayed perched on Arashi's shoulder, taking account everything that was happening around them. Then, at last, the general exited the plane with their mean face glued on, followed closely by Nanabe, whose expression was unreadable behind her big black sunglasses. Arashi folded his arms and gave them an unbothered look. However, he did feel slightly bothered that Nanabe had not come back to check on them for the entire flight. Ugh. What does that asshole have over her anyways?
Maldahara! We are currently located 2 hours outside of the city of Fez. For stealth purposes, we will split into teams. Fear, I'm certain, already knows we are here, but that doesn't mean we invite it to our doorstep or our minds. That also means no random lightning strikes or fireballs when we have our temper tantrums. Do I make myself clear?
Cox was directing that last rant at Arashi and Cody. Ari simply rolled his eyes and snickered to himself. The cavalry responded with a "sir, yes, sir," promptly. Arashi pretended to yawn. Hopefully, he can get as far away from Cox as he could.
Nanabe, you take your team now and start making your way to the Medina. We will be close behind once the rest of the SUVs arrive. Upon arrival, we will hold our positions at the perimeter of the city walls.
A big black SUV pulled up out of the mirage of the heat. Nanabe nodded her head and started making her way towards the trucks.
Come along, boys. You're with me.
I call shotgun, pew 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 pew. Shamari was racing to the car. Cody and Arashi were making their way over when they suddenly sensed a presence in the air. Then, that familiar pain in Arashi's arm flared up, like he had been struck in his arm with a vat of hot chicken grease. He grabbed his arm and felt the burning sensation crawling up his shoulder. Oh no! Look! It's gotten worse! I didn't even notice! He pulled up his sleeve and looked at the tendrils of black veins pulsating and throbbing up his arm.
Brother, you have to fight it, or it will destroy you.
The agony knocked him off his feet, but Cody grabbed him before he hit the ground and pulled him over to the car.
Yo, we gotta get out of here. Fear's coming.
Shamari ran back around to help get Arashi into the car. Nanabe opened the car door for them.
Cox! Get your team out of here now!
Once the boys were in the car, she ducked in behind them. Martin and Frank were already in the front seats in the same dark suits and sunglasses.
Wait, what the hell?
Cody said, confused as to how they got there. Arashi didn't even notice them. His eyes were closed tight, trying not to give in to the pain. Then suddenly, the ground began to rumble like an earthquake. It shook the ground so violently that the kids outside couldn't even remain on their feet. Peering outside the tinted windows of the SUV, Nanabe was starting to panic. This was not supposed to happen this soon. Not like this.
Martin, drive!
She yelled over the earthquake. They had their mission, and everyone was on their own now. Martin kicked the car into drive, but the wheels just spun wildly in place. The ground had broken up and given way under the truck. They were stuck in a pit. Outside, a few yards away, the ground began coming up in lumps. As the sand fell, it revealed giant beetle creatures emerging from the pits of hell. They had large black bodies and claws as hands. Dozens of them were popping up out of the ground and quickly making their way towards them on 6 legs.
Oh, crap! Come on, fool, crank this thing. Let's get the hell out of here.
Shamari rolled down the window and pulled out the pistols. He started firing at the nearest beetle monsters that was making its way towards them. The bullets penetrated the skin, but did nothing to stop their stampede.
We're stuck.
Frank said a bit too coolly. Nanabe turned to see the rest of the team was being ambushed from all sides by the creatures. She was concerned, but she was confident that they had been trained well enough to handle this. She looked over at Arashi. He was sweating and losing consciousness. The throbbing pain was becoming too much to bear. He couldn't help them now, and they were in a rut, literally. The creatures were closing in on them, and they had to think fast.
Okay, it's my turn to save somebody.
Ishara hopped off of Nanabe's lap and flew out the window.
Hey, where's she going?
Cody asked Arashi, but he was still too much pain to answer. But he did try reaching out to her with his mind. Ishara, what are you doing? She flew around to the nearest beetle creature. It barely noticed her as she landed on his head. Her beak began to glow bright white. She proceeded by pecking the creature in the head one good time, and with a flash of light, the creature froze on impact and was suddenly frozen in a block of ice.
Whoa, Shy, shatter the ice. Hurry!
Got it! Shamari was charging up his spirit gun to unload the final shot. It hit, and the creature shattered into 1,000 shards of ice.
Hell yeah, Bluebird got that ice, baby. Pum, pum, let's go. Give me some more.
Shamari got up and sat at the edge of the window with one leg hanging out of the car and the other propped under the seat to keep him steady.
Keep it up, guys. Martin, Frank, I have an idea. Cody, we're gonna need your help as well.
Cody nodded his head, still holding on to Arashi. His breathing was becoming shallow. They had to get out of there as soon as possible.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Frank, drop the gravity around the truck. Martin, surround us with your force field. And Cody, I'm gonna need you to propel us forward. Think you can do that?
Yeah, I think so, but...
No time for buts, babe. Now is the time to do. Frank, do it now.
Frank began to concentrate his energy. There was an orange glow emanating from his hands, and the car began to float.
Seatbelts! Shamari, hold on.
Martin raised his hands as an invisible force field could be seen, refracting the light around the car. Shamari was still shooting out the window with one hand, and with the other, grabbed the seat in front of him.
Okay, Cody, get us out of here.
Cody took a deep breath and reached for his glow. He felt the weight of the truck, and when he released that breath, he pushed. Without warning, the car launched forward like a rocket. With no gravity around the car, it was like flicking a flat stone across still water. They were covering miles in seconds, flying across the desert, pummeling through creatures like they were paper. Shamari held on for dear life outside the truck. The force was so great, they couldn't lift their heads off the seat.
Cody, too much! Slow down!
Nanabe yelled. Cody had been holding his breath the entire time. He released the glow, and they slowed down to a stop. Frank released the gravity, and they floated softly to the ground.
Oh, my bad.
He was shaking a bit from the shock. He checked on Arashi's condition, but he had straight passed out.
Ari, wake up.
Cody was trying to wake him up. Meanwhile, Shamari crawled back into the car slowly. His face was flushed and his hair was blown completely backward.
What the F, bro? I almost broke my fucking neck.
You look crazy. Now your outside matches your inside, you sociopath.
Man, shut your ugly ass up.
Guys, please stop acting like children for 5 minutes. Ari, sweetie, wake up.
Is he dead? He's not dead, right?
Cody asked. His voice was shaking. Between the stress of his powers and the heat, Cody thought that he might pass out himself.
No, he isn't dead, hun. Martin, we need some air back here. I think he's astral projecting. Let me see him.
Cody shifted over to the other seat as she brought Arashi's limp body over to lay his head on her lap. She looked at his arm and noticed the pulsing had stopped. There was movement flickering under his eyelids. Nanabe focused the energy on making connection with his astral self.
He's safeguarding. He's left his body to escape the pain.
Meanwhile, Shamari was outside the truck, checking to see where they drifted off to. They were so far away from the base, he could barely see it in the distance.
Oh shit! Hey, we forgot Ishara! Yo, we forgot Ishara!
Okay, Shy, stop screaming. I'll handle it.
Nanabe was still concentrating on Arashi. Cody was in the back seat, trying to stay calm. Whatever, wasn't screaming, just thought that somebody would care. Shh.
Ari, can you hear me?
She spoke to him from the other side. Nana? Yes, I can hear you. My astral body is still here at the landing site. I'm keeping watch over Ishara. His astral form was hovering over what was now a battlefield. The kid soldiers were actually kicking ass. They knew how to use their gifts. He could see the general throwing punches at the creatures from a far-off distance and still sending them flying. Ishara was still flying from one creature to the next, turning them to ice for someone else to come and smash them.
Ari, grab her. We have to get moving.
He agreed and began hovering towards her direction, calling out to her. Sister, I'm here to get you. The others are waiting for us.
Wait, not yet. They could still use my help here.
Ishara, no. They can handle this. We gotta leave.
Okay, one more. I'm getting out some pent-up aggression here.
Ishara! Just as he was reaching out to her, there was a massive explosion that seemed to blow up from the underground. It was just a few meters away from where they were, but the explosion sent her spiraling backwards. There was a plume of smoke that covered the area in dust and sand, making it very hard to see. Then, out of the smoke, two giant black snakes went flying into the air, like they were swimming in water. They were huge, as big and long as a big-ass snake. Their large, glowing eyes were like blurs as they hunted their way around the Muldahara teams. They cornered 5 kids into a circle. One of the kids created a barrier around them and the others, but when the snake began circling them faster and faster, they all caught on fire. It quickly turned to a fiery tornado of dust and sand. The heat was so intense, Arashi swore he could feel it even in his astral form. When they stopped spinning, the children were gone. Nothing was left but a pile of ashes. Horrified, the rest of the kids began focusing their attacks on defeating the snakes, but the creatures were too powerful. Their attempts just bounced off of them. This was turning into a very bad situation, and the longer they stayed here, the sooner they would be next. Arashi was flying around looking for Ishara. When he couldn't find her with his eyes, he tried sensing her with his mind. He focused on her glow. He sensed she was near, but the blast knocked her out. There was no communicating with her right now, so he had to act fast. But just as soon as he found her, the snakes also caught sight of her in their radar. They looked his way with their bright glowing eyes as if they were looking directly at him. Ishara was just below him, and they sensed her glow as well. Her tiny bird body was sprawled out on the ground, helpless and vulnerable. Then, at the speed of sound, he was racing to her at the same time the snakes were rapidly approaching. He was moving as fast as he could. He wasn't going to let them get her. Then, like lightning, his spirit body reached Ishara, and just as the snakes were about to pounce on her, the light exploded around them. Arashi burst awake inside the truck with Ishara in his hands. He was breathing heavily, still in shock.
Oh, thank goodness. Martin, get us out of here now.
Martin switched the car back into drive, and they kicked up the dust behind them, reaching 70 miles per hour in seconds.
Oh my God, Ari. I thought you were dead. You scared the crap out of me. Are you okay? Is she okay?
Arashi lifted his head up slowly and nodded that he was okay. She was knocked out from the blast of the explosion, but she'll be okay, he signed to them, slowly getting up to sit in his seat.
What was that blast, Ari? We saw it from here.
Arashi just shook his head. Those snakes were very dangerous. The way they turned those kids to ash made him so angry. He told all of them about what he saw and what happened. Then he told them that there was no way anyone could have prepared for an attack like that.
They're trained for this, and the general can handle it. I'm sure they made it out. Casualties are a part of war.
Arashi was shocked and disappointed. He had never heard her speak so coldly about life, even more so the lives of children. It really made him sad for her. She sounded as if she didn't even believe the words she was saying.
How's the arm?
Cody was leaned over to Arashi's face and put his hand to the back of his neck. Arashi lifted up his sleeve and gasped. The black lines in his arms had snaked all the way up to his shoulder. What the hell is this? He thought to himself. His arm felt numb, almost as if it didn't belong to him. Similar to the feeling you get when you sleep on your arm and lose all feeling.
Damn, little bro. That tat is cray.
It's not a tattoo, you dumbass. It's killing him.
Hey, chill. I'm just trying to lighten the mood. Cody, chill.
He's gonna be okay, Cody. Right, Ari?
Bernabe was rubbing his leg. Arashi nodded his head and gave his best crooked smile, as Ishara was beginning to stir awake.
What did I miss?
Hey, nothing you need to worry about right now, sis. You did good. We're safe now.
Frank, what's our ETA?
Frank pulled out a device that beeped when he pressed it.
2 hours and 22 minutes. Well, with the way we're driving, we should get there in less.
Well, we can't afford to draw any more attention to ourselves in this country, so slow it down for now, Martin. They will already know we are Americans and target us. We have to abide by their laws here. We have to be smart and diligent. No mucking around. Shy.
What? Mucking around? Look, don't even play like I'm not the star player on this.
Not the point. We aren't going to be extra here. The trouble, for now, is behind us. But best believe we're walking into a heap of shit that we're going to have to crawl ourselves out of. Just keep your spirits strong and vibrations high.
Cody and Arashi nodded their heads. This was only the beginning.
Oh, brother, that was so much fun. But I'm so hungry. Too bad those children turned to ash. I would have loved a snack.
Anad said to his twin brother Sarai. They sat atop the abandoned Multahara jet. The battle was over. Flames engulfed the area around the plane where they sat.
You're always hungry, brother. Have some more discipline. No. I eat when I'm hungry, I sleep when I'm tired, and I kill when I'm bored. I give myself what I need when I need it. You'd be better if you gave into your urges, brother.
The words slithered from his lips as his hands found their way to his brother's groin. Sarai hissed and removed his brother's hands swiftly.
You need to learn the difference between what it is you want and what you need. Oh, you're no fun. I'm sure the dragon would like to play with me. His spirit looks so delicious. My mouth was salivating. Just remember, brother, the dragon and the tiger are the main catch. Just continue to be your charming self. We cannot fail, or the master will be angry with us.
Sarai peered down at the black bands around his wrist. They were the mark of fear, so they knew that they belonged to him.
Yes. The master will be pleased, I'm sure. But we let the rest of the humans get away? Will he be angry with us?
Anad had a small, devilish look on his face. Sarai knew of his brother's sick addiction to being punished. He welcomed the pain and the anguish. At times, it made him jealous and aroused.
Well, it was unavoidable. Besides, they don't matter. We will have our second chance soon enough.
Sarai stood up, his long black hair falling down behind him.
It's time we go. They will be upon the city soon.
He held out his hand to his brother. Anad also had long black hair, but his features were a bit more angular and narrow. They shared the same haunting green eyes. Anad grabbed his brother's hand and stood up, then grabbed his crotch again.
First, give me what I want, because I always get what I want.
End of chapter 24.